To test my husband's work capability, my father arranged for me to conduct a surprise inspection of the company he was in charge of. I thought it would just be a formality. But the moment I walked in, I saw a woman dressed innocently, staring blankly at a shredder. "Wow, this machine is so amazing." As she spoke, she picked up a contract from the table and tried to feed it into the machine. The colleague next to her turned pale with fright and quickly stopped her. "My little princess, weren't you playing games in the office? Why did you come out?" The woman smiled. "Hee, I'm a little thirsty." No sooner had she spoken than her hand, holding a cup, jerked, and the entire cup of water accidentally splashed onto the power switch. The entire company lost power, and the office area erupted in wails. I grabbed an intern beside me and asked who on earth had hired this idiot. The intern immediately made a shushing gesture. "Keep your voice down, she's our President Gu's wife. I heard this entire company belongs to her. Are you new? You'll get used to it in a few days. She usually just plays games in President Gu's office and doesn't interact with us." My temples throbbed as I listened. If she's President Gu's wife, then who am I? I pulled out my phone and called my father. "Dad, no need for the inspection. Tell Gu Yuan to come to the company with the divorce papers." My father asked me to come to the company to assess Gu Yuan. He said it was a routine check, told me not to stress, and just treat it as getting familiar with the business early. I thought it was just going through the motions. I told the receptionist I was an inspector from headquarters, and she respectfully swiped me through the access control. As soon as I entered the office area, I saw a woman. She was dressed very innocently, in a white dress, squatting in front of the shredder, her face full of curiosity. "Wow, this machine is so amazing. Can it really eat anything?" As she spoke, she casually picked up a document from the nearby table. On the cover of that document, in red lettering, was marked Merger and Acquisition Contract. Without a second thought, she tried to feed the contract into the shredder. The face of a bespectacled colleague next to her instantly turned ghastly pale. He lunged over, almost crashing into the woman, just in time to snatch the contract away. "My little princess, weren't you playing games in the office?" His voice was somewhat distorted by fear. "Why did you come out? This contract needs to be stamped this afternoon." Though bumped by him, the woman wasn't angry at all. Instead, she grinned and shook the empty cup in her hand. "Got tired of playing games? A little thirsty?" The colleague breathed a sigh of relief, clutching the contract tightly to his chest as if it were his own life. He lowered his voice, a pleading tone in it. "Then please go get some water, I beg you. Go drink it in the office, okay? Doesn't President Gu's office have its own water dispenser?" The woman pouted. "The water over there doesn't taste good. I want to drink from out here." Having said that, ignoring the colleague's expression that looked like he was about to cry, she turned and went to the break room. Watching this scene, my temples throbbed violently. I grabbed an intern nearby who looked very young. "Who is she?" The intern glanced at me, then quickly at the woman's retreating back, his eyes full of wariness. He put his index finger to his lips, making a shushing gesture. "Keep your voice down, miss." He leaned close to my ear, his voice extremely low. "She's our President Gu's wife. Her name is Linya." My heart jolted. The various behaviors Gu Yuan had been exhibiting lately suddenly found an explanation. The intern continued. "I heard this entire company belongs to her, so she's the real boss lady here. You just started, right? You'll get used to it in a few days." He sighed, his face bearing a weariness that belied his age. "She usually stays in President Gu's exclusive office, playing games, watching shows. She doesn't interact with us. Today, President Gu should be out for a meeting, no one to accompany her, so she came out for some air." Listening to him, my mind buzzed. She was President Gu's wife. Then who was I? The intern, noticing my bad expression, asked concernedly. Miss, are you okay? You look terrible. I shook my head and smiled. I'm fine. Just a bit shocked. To have someone like that in the company, an eye-opener. The intern smiled bitterly and shrugged. You'll get used to it. Anyway, she won't really do anything. Everyone just bears with it, praying she'll get bored quickly and go back to the office. I didn't speak anymore. Wouldn't really do anything? If that contract earlier had been shredded, projects worth hundreds of millions would have stalled. Who would bear the resulting losses? I watched Linya's back as she came out of the break room, bouncing along, humming a tune. I pulled out my phone, initially intending to call my father directly. But thinking it over, I put the phone away. Leaving just like that would be too easy for Gu Yuan. Dad asked me to assess his capability. His capability, his character, are both hugely problematic. I wanted to see, under his management, just how absurd this company had already become. I straightened my clothes and walked to the reception desk. Hello, I'm Dong Jingtong from headquarters, here for a project inspection. Please arrange a temporary workstation for me, preferably a quiet one. Also, today's inspection is internal. I don't want President Gu to know I was here. The receptionist respectfully nodded. I entered the office area, found a corner seat, and sat down, my gaze falling on Linya not far away. She was holding a glass of water, curiously studying the fire hydrant on the wall, seemingly contemplating whether to press that red button. Gu Yuan was away in the morning. Linya, probably bored of playing games in the office, wandered out of the general manager's office again. She roamed around the office area. One moment she'd poke at a colleague's freshly drawn design sketch. The next, she'd tap on another colleague's keyboard, typing out a string of gibberish. Everyone was angry but didn't dare speak, holding their breath when she approached, and quickly checking their work after she left to see if it had suffered. She wandered over to the water dispenser. Probably thirsty again, she picked up a disposable cup to get water. Whether she didn't hold it steady, or did it on purpose. Her hand jerked. A full cup of water, neither nor, was all splashed towards the wall next to the water dispenser. Right there was the main power switch for the entire office area. There was a loud crackle, accompanied by a burst of dazzling electric sparks. The lights in the entire office area instantly went out. Everyone's computer screens went black simultaneously. A few seconds later, the office area erupted in sky-rending wails and desperate curses. My code. I wrote all morning. Didn't save. My design draft. The client has 8 times, just one last step. My report. Due at 2 p.m. Done, all done. The head of the technical department, hearing the commotion, was the first to rush out of his office. Seeing Linya, who had caused the trouble and was standing there with an innocent face, his expression instantly turned livid. His lips moved, fists clenched and unclenched, but ultimately he swallowed his words. Linya spoke first, her voice full of sheer. What happened? This switch is of such poor quality, right? Just a splash of water and it breaks. Why are things in our company all so shoddy? This ability to turn blame around was truly astonishing. The head of administration also rushed over hurriedly. He first looked at the mess, the still smoking power switch, then looked at Linya. He immediately put on a fawning smile. Sister Ya, are you hurt? Did it scare you? This isn't your fault, it must be wiring. We'll handle it immediately, I'll call someone right now to replace it with a new, waterproof one. You go back to the office and rest. Leave this to us. Linya pouted, seemingly unsatisfied with this outcome, but said nothing more and turned back to Gu Yuan's office. Only then did the admin head wipe the cold sweat from his forehead and start directing the tech department to fix things. As he passed by me, I stopped him. Manager, does this kind of thing happen often? The manager looked at me, recognized me as someone from headquarters, and a wry expression appeared on his face. He pulled me into the stairwell of the fire escape, lowering his voice. You're the inspector, right? There are things I probably shouldn't say, but after today's incident. He sighed and continued. To be honest with you, she's President Gu's prized possession. We don't dare to control her. Today President Gu went to a meeting out of town, so no one can control her. Usually when President Gu is here, he can at least keep her locked in the office. His face was full of helplessness and despair. Last time, she also accidentally knocked over a cup of coffee. That cup of coffee landed right on our core server. The entire company's data went haywire. The tech department worked overtime for a whole week just to it. A whole week's work for all of us was wasted. And then? I asked. Then, President Gu said our tech department had poor supervision, that the server location had safety hazards, and deducted our entire department's quarterly bonus. He said it was to teach us a lesson. My heart sank, bit by bit. This was Gu Yuan's management style. Indulging an idiot to run rampant in the company, then making all the hard-working employees pay for her stupidity. Gu Yuan, you're really something. Just then, the general manager's office door opened again. Linya poked her head out and shouted. So boring, why isn't the power back on yet? My phone's almost dead. Are there any snacks in the break room? No one answered her. The entire office area was filled with nothing but a suffocating, intense silence. Just as the engineering department restored the power, my father called. He asked me to go get some core data from the marketing department. He said this document was needed for the board meeting in the afternoon, and I must handle it personally, without any mishaps. I took a USB drive, copied the data from the marketing director, and went to the print room. I had just finished the documents and clipped them together when the print room door was pushed open. Linya, holding a cup of milk tea, wandered in. Her eyes immediately landed on the stapler beside my hand, lighting up. Hey, let me borrow this. My snack bag is open. As she spoke, she reached out to grab it. Instinctively, I moved the documents and stapler back, avoiding her hand. These documents company. Her hand grabbed air, her body lurched forward from the momentum, and her foot got caught on a wire. The milk tea in her hand flew out. The brown liquid traced a parabolic arc through the air, unerringly splashing all over the freshly printed confidential documents. The thick stack of A4 paper was instantly soaked through by the milk tea, becoming a complete mess. Looking at the ruined documents, I could no longer maintain my observer stance. I looked up, my gaze falling on Linya's face. There was not a shred of guilt on her face, instead, she seemed somewhat annoyed that I hadn't lent her the stapler. My voice was cold. Can you take responsibility for these documents? Linya was probably being questioned in this tone by a company employee for the first time. She was stunned for a moment. Then, anger rose on her face. How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who I am? She puffed out her chest, looking utterly righteous. I'm President Gu's wife. Looking at her, I felt no stir inside, and even felt a bit amused. Oh? I asked calmly. Just because you're President Gu's wife, you're allowed to arbitrarily destroy company property? Allowed to ignore company rules and regulations? My clearly challenged her authority. Furious, she pointed her finger at my nose. Of course I can. This company belongs to a yuan, so it's mine. I can do whatever I want. Her voice turned, like nails on glass. Who do you think you are? Some newbie, daring to lecture me? Colleagues who had heard the commotion gathered nearby. Seeing this scene, they were too scared to even breathe. A few female colleagues from the admin department quietly tugged at my clothes, their eyes full of pleading, signaling me to apologize quickly. I didn't move. I just looked calmly at her. Seeing me unmoved, Linya felt she had lost face in front of everyone. She pulled out her phone, a smug sneer on her face. Fine, you're stubborn, huh? You think I can't deal with you? I'll have a yuan tell you right now who I am, and who you are. She directly dialed Gu Yuan's video call. The call connected quickly. She pointed the phone screen at herself, ready to have Gu Yuan back her up. As soon as the video connected, Lin Ye's eyes immediately reddened. She looked at the camera, her voice full of immense, and started crying. Yuan, I'm being bullied. There's this new employee at the company, she's so mean. I just wanted to borrow a stapler, and she wouldn't let me. She ruined some documents herself, then blamed me for it, told me to, and even lectured me. She twisted the truth, crying and pouring out her story, as if suffering some great injustice. From the video, Gu Yuan's gentle, soothing voice came. Baby, don't cry. Your husband is here. No one can bully you. I'll handle it. I could see he was in a dignified conference room, with the company logo in the background. He should be attending a crucial industry summit out of town, vital to the company's future. But now, for a woman's tears, he interrupted the meeting. Okay, don't cry. Give her the phone. Gu Yuan's tone switched instantly from gentle to icy cold. He spoke to the direction behind Lin Ye, towards all of us employees, in a commanding tone that brooked no argument. Who made our Xiaoye angry? Give her the phone. I'll talk to that person myself. Let's see who's so daring. A smug smile immediately appeared on Lin Ye's face. She thrust the phone towards me, chin raised high, her eyes full of provocation and gloating. I calmly took the phone. My face appeared clearly before the video camera. Seeing me, Gu Yuan was obviously taken aback, a flicker of panic crossing his face. Dong Jingtong? Why are you here? His brows were tightly furrowed, as if my appearance was a troublesome matter. Don't be angry first. Wait till I get back, I'll explain. I looked at the familiar face on the screen, the face I once thought I could entrust with my life. At this moment, it only felt incredibly and ridiculous. Seeing me unresponsive, just looking coldly at him, his tone became impatient, even carrying a hint of threat. Don't make a scene. I have an important meeting here. The company's future depends on this conference. He dismissed everything as me making a scene. His stupidity and incompetence angered me, and I laughed out of sheer exasperation. I spoke coldly to the camera. Very good, Gu Yuan. Your capability, your responsibility, I've finished my assessment. Before he could react, I threw the phone back to the stunned Lin Ye. Then I pulled out my own phone, found my father's number, and dialed. The moment the call connected, I spoke. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried clearly through the entire print room and the whole office area. Dad, no need for the inspection. Tell Gu Yuan to come back immediately, bring the divorce papers, and meet me at the company. After I hung up on my father, the scene was dead silent. Everyone held their breath, staring at me with expressions mixing shock, confusion, and fear. Lin Ye's phone was still lit, Gu Yuan's video call hadn't been disconnected. He had obviously heard my last sentence. His livid face was staring fixedly at me through the screen. He probably hadn't caught who I was talking to on the phone, or maybe he couldn't believe it. Who the hell were you calling? What nonsense did you just say? His voice still carried his usual condescension. Lin Ye snapped out of it too. She thought Gu Yuan was still backing her up, thought I was just bluffing. She scrambled up from the floor, brushed off the dust, and spoke to me arrogantly. What act are you putting on here? I ignored her. I didn't even look at Gu Yuan again. Just then, another ringtone came from Lin Ye's phone speaker. It was Gu Yuan's private phone ringing. In the video, Gu Yuan looked down at the incoming call display. Just one glance, and his pupils suddenly contracted. I saw his hands fumbling on the screen, probably answering the call. He pressed the phone to his ear, forgetting even about us on the video call. From the other end of the line came an authoritative voice, Thuff. It still carried an undeniable momentum, clearly audible. Gu Yuan. It was my father. You've grown quite capable, haven't you? bullying even my daughter? My father's voice wasn't loud, but it was like a thunderclap from a clear sky, making the whole space buzz. Gu Yuan's body jerked violently. In an instant, cold sweat poured down, and his hands holding the phone began to tremble uncontrollably. He stammered an explanation into the phone. Dad, no, Chairman. Please let me explain. There's been a misunderstanding. A huge misunderstanding. As he frantically explained, he stared at me through the video in disbelief. His eyes were full of terror. I walked over to Linya. She was already dumbstruck by this sudden turn of events, standing rooted to the spot. I picked up the employee badge hanging on my chest and held it up in front of Linya. On the badge, my name and position were clearly visible. Dong Jingtong, Headquarters, Project Inspection Department. I spoke to Gu Yuan in the video, word by word. Forgot to introduce myself. My name is Dong Jingtong. The chairman you just addressed is my father. And also, this company is not yours. It's mine. Gu Yuan in the video was utterly dumbfounded, his face ashen white. And Linya finally realized who she had offended. The color drained completely from her face. Half an hour later, the company door was pushed open. My father, Group Chairman Dong Guosheng, arrived in person with a team of senior executives and legal counsel. His presence was commanding. Wherever he passed, all employees fell silent and automatically made way. The entire office area was deathly quiet, only the steady sound of his footsteps could be heard. He didn't spare a glance at Linya, who was slumped on the floor, as if she were just an annoying piece of trash. He walked straight over to me, his eyes holding a sternness and concern I had never seen before. He raised his hand, tidying my slightly disheveled hair. Were you wronged? I shook my head, my nose a bit stinging, but I held back. No, Dad. I just think, your company shouldn't be like this. Dad nodded and patted my shoulder. You're right. Linya, slumped on the floor, saw my father and seemed to see a lifeline. She scrambled over on hands and knees, trying to grab my father's leg. Chairman, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I was blind and didn't recognize Mount Tai. I didn't know she was your daughter. She was crying pitifully, a complete mess. My father's gaze was icy cold. He stepped back, avoiding Linya's outstretched hand, his face full of disgust. He spoke coldly to the security captain following behind. Throw this woman of unknown origin out. Also, immediately investigate how she got into the company, who approved her entry, and who gave her the authority to act tyrannically here. All responsible parties, from top to bottom, are to be dismissed together, and the group will never rehire them. His words carried no emotion. Hearing this, Linya's cries, leaving only despair on her face. Two security guards stepped forward, grabbed her arms, and started dragging her out. A Yuan, save me. I don't want to leave. I was wrong. She screamed Gu Yuan's name along the way, but no one paid attention. The former boss lady who had thrown her weight around here was publicly expelled like this. My father walked to the center of the office area. He looked around at the silent employees and announced in a loud voice. From today onwards, Dong Jingtong will officially assume the position of general manager of this branch, with full authority over all affairs here. Gu Yuan is suspended immediately pending reflection, awaiting the final decision of the board of directors. As he finished speaking, the company employees finally understood. So I was the real princess. They all looked with a complex mixture of sympathy, contempt, and schadenfreude at the boss lady being dragged out. I picked up the intercom on the desk and calmly called administration. Everyone's eyes were on me. I pressed the speakerphone button. Notify housekeeping to disinfect the general manager's office thoroughly. Especially the carpet and sofa. I find them very dirty. Also, immediately pack up and remove all personal belongings in the office that don't belong to the company. I don't want to see anything related to Gu Yuan. That night, Gu Yuan hurried back, travel-worn. He stood in front of our villa, only to find the digital lock had been changed. He tried all our anniversaries, tried our birthdays. The door remained unresponsive. He frantically rang the doorbell. Then started calling me, one after another. His phone almost blew up mine. I sat on the living room sofa, watching the phone screen light up and go dark. Ignoring it all. Eventually, what he got wasn't me opening the door. It was a moving company truck. The truck stopped at the entrance. Workers started carrying things out of the house. Packed cardboard boxes, one by one, all belonged to him. His suits, his sneakers, his golf clubs. Even the trophies and certificates in his study he was so proud of. All his personal belongings, not a single one left, were piled by the roadside, like unclaimed garbage. Seeing this, Gu Yuan's eyes reddened. He rushed forward, using his body to block the door just before I closed it, grabbing my arm. Tong Tong, I was wrong. Let me explain. He pleaded, his voice filled with a panic and fear I'd never heard before. I was momentarily confused. The one I love is you. I calmly shook off his hand. His words made me feel utterly disgusted. Confused? I looked at him coldly, demanding. You treated my father's company, our marriage, as a game? You treated all the employees' hard work as your personal playground? Gu Yuan defended himself frantically. No, Tong Tong. I was deceived by that woman. I didn't know she was like that. She seemed so innocent. She seduced me. He was still shifting blame onto others. Truly ridiculous and pathetic. Too lazy to waste more words, I slammed the door shut with force. Bang. Completely his world outside. Outside, there was his desperate roar and pounding on the door, mixed with his agonized crying. Kicked out of the house, Gu Yuan had nowhere to go. The properties under his name were all bought after our marriage, all registered in my name. This was a requirement my father had proposed back then to protect me. He could only check into a hotel. The next day, he still had to face the board of directors' inquiry. He tried to contact Linya, hoping to get back the assets he had gifted her, bought with embezzled company funds. Only to find she had already blocked him, disappearing without a trace with the money and jewelry he had given her. The innocent girl he thought she was had cleaned him out, treating him like a fool and an ATM. At the board meeting, I submitted a detailed financial report and an internal audit report covering Gu Yuan's tenure. Every instance of mismanagement, every wrong decision, every loss he had concealed with false data, even every single of the embezzled funds he used to please his mistress, I listed them all clearly, with irrefutable evidence. Faced with questions from my father and the board members, Gu Yuan was speechless. His so-called capabilities, which he prided himself on, crumbled before the real scrutiny, like a pathetic joke. In the end, the board reached a unanimous decision. Gu Yuan was not only fired, but also had to personally the company for all economic losses caused by his gross negligence and embezzlement. It was an astronomical sum, enough to ensure he could never get back on his feet. When he walked out of the group building, he was utterly dazed, like a walking corpse. I happened to be going downstairs, heading to the branch company. My new driver was already waiting at the door, opening the car door for me. That driver was the very intern who had warned me about Linya's identity in the office earlier. He worked hard, was down to earth, and showed great potential, so I had promoted him to be my assistant. Being a driver was just temporary. Gu Yuan saw us. He watched me get into the car that once belonged to him, watched an intern he had never deemed worthy respectfully close the door for me. The immense and crushing debt burden broke him. He crouched by the roadside, holding his head in his hands, like a stray dog abandoned by the whole world. The car slowly passed him. From the rearview mirror, I saw his anguished face. He finally understood that what he had lost was not just a marriage and a job. He had lost a shortcut to the pinnacle of life, lost the person who had always silently supported him from behind, yet he had never cherished. Unfortunately, the most useless thing in this world is regret. Gu Yuan's fate turned out even uglier than I imagined. I heard about these things later when my assistant reports and told them to me as jokes. Penniless, after spending his last bit of cash, Gu Yuan was completely trapped. He was hounded by the company for debt, pressed by the bank for payments, couldn't even afford a hotel. He began frantically searching for Linya. He probably thought that no matter how down and out he was, Linya truly loved him, and would at least return some of the money. He found her in a cheap, noisy bar, enjoying herself with another man. She was dressed flamboyantly, clinking glasses with men around her, laughing wildly and, completely unbothered by the previous incident. Gu Yuan rushed over, grabbed her wrist, his eyes bloodshot, like a beast cornered. "Why is your phone off? Where's the money I gave you? Give it back," he demanded, his voice filled with the anger and despair of being betrayed by the whole world. Linya was startled, but once she saw his state, her face immediately showed disdain and disgust. She forcefully shook off Gu Yuan's hand and snapped at him. "You still have the nerve to come to me? You loser! Can't even keep your own job, and now you want money from me?" She mocked him mercilessly. "You're just a dog to the Dong family. Now that the owner kicked you out, you come to bite me?" These words crushed what little male pride he had left. Linya, not satisfied, confessed everything, loud enough for the whole bar to hear. "I approached you from the start for your money. You didn't really think I loved you, did you? All that love talk was just lies I made up. Only a fool like you would believe it. Look in the mirror, do you even deserve it?" Gu Yuan was enraged. All his pride and last hopes were shattered by Linya's words. He lunged at her like a madman, and they started fighting in the bar. It was an ugly scene, bottles smashing, tables overturning. Linya's new boyfriend, a tough-looking guy, immediately joined the fray. He picked up a bottle and smashed it over Gu Yuan's head. Gu Yuan was beaten black and blue, unable to fight back, just curled up on the floor, wailing. Eventually, all three were taken away by the police for public fighting. This farce was witnessed by countless people, videos were uploaded online, and it became the city's laughingstock. Gu Yuan's parents were called to the police station to pick him up. Seeing their son's battered, disheveled state, and learning the whole story from the police, they were utterly humiliated. The old couple was so furious they disowned him on the spot. "Our Gu family has no son like you. Whether you live or die from now on has nothing to do with us. Don't come looking for us anymore." Gu Yuan was completely, utterly alone, abandoned by all. After taking over the branch, I implemented a series of sweeping reforms. Those who had been promoted by Gu Yuan, the sycophantic yes-men, were all fired. The company's systems and procedures were reorganized, and all positions were filled with capable, motivated employees. The once stagnant, relationship-driven company was now revitalized, full of vitality and hope. Performance soared, exceeding targets for 3 consecutive quarters, and the profit margin even surpassed some established branches within the group. All employees were truly convinced by me, their work enthusiasm. My father was very satisfied with my performance. At a group board meeting, he publicly announced that I would be his sole heir. More core business of the group would gradually be handed over to me for experience. The first thing I did was rehire the former head of the technical department, the one who had taken the blame for the server incident and been fired. I gave him double the salary and the position of technical director, giving him full responsibility for the company's technology upgrade. The day he returned, the entire tech department erupted, and many old-timers teared up. The company's atmosphere was unprecedented, everyone united, working towards common goals. As for Gu Yuan, unable to repay his massive debt to the company, he was listed by the court as a judgment debtor. He couldn't take high-speed trains or planes, couldn't engage in high-consumption activities. All his assets were frozen, relegating him to the bottom of society. I heard his parents eventually relented and gave him some money to rent a small place in a third-tier city, just barely scraping by. But that small amount was a drop in the bucket compared to his debt. One afternoon, I was on my way to a meeting at a partner company. Stopped at a red light, I happened to glance out the window. I saw a familiar figure. It was Gu Yuan. His eyes were dull, a far cry from the spirited man I remembered. He saw me too, saw this luxury car that once belonged to him. Our eyes met across the street. He froze, flyers scattering from his hand, blown everywhere by the wind. He seemed to want to come forward and say something. But my assistant had already gotten out and opened the door for me. Dressed in a sharp suit, full of energy, he stood beside me, respectfully reporting on the upcoming schedule. Gu Yuan looked at him, then at me. Finally, overcome with shame, he lowered his head and silently began picking up the flyers from the ground. I didn't linger. I walked straight into the building across the street. Walking towards my bright future. My brand new life was just beginning.